Metal Slug.
A month or so after the Wii's initial launch, having crushed through Trauma Center, Raving Rabbids, and Elebits. Can you crush through Elebits? Anyway, I went to a game store hoping to find a new title that would tickle my Wii fancy. In the distance, past crowds of mothers still attempting to acquire a Wii for their children so they'll still believe in Santa, I saw the Metal Slug Anthology sitting inconspicuously on a shelf like the Holy Grail. In December of 2006, the Wii saw the release of this epic compilation developed and published by SNK. This anthology contains Metal Slug 1 through 6 and also X, which is a remake of 2. If you haven't played any Metal Slug, it's another shame on you moment. These games are all classic. They're wild side-scrollers with massive amounts of enemies and loads of guns and assault vehicles. Oh, also assault camels. You fire everywhere using any ammo or gun upgrades you collect. The idea is never be hit and you'll never die, but rarely does that plan actually work. It's one of those wonderful coin eaters we love to smash away on in any arcade. Honestly, if you name it, it's probably been in some incarnation of Metal Slug. Mummies, zombies, aliens, evil soldiers, the list goes on. Throughout the game, you can shoot prisoners free, and if you harass them a little, they'll give you random items, power-ups, or ammo that assist in gameplay. From Metal Slug 3 on, SNK utilized a branching system that allows players to take one of two paths. They both inevitably lead to the same boss, but the paths vary in difficulty and you'll end up with different weapon sets depending on where you went. It might seem odd to say this, seeing as all of the Metal Slugs have the same basic idea, 2D side-scrolling run and gun, but if you play through all of these incarnations, you will find a favorite. Mine has always been and will always be Metal Slug 3. I can't say why, but it's probably the zombies. Preference will more than likely come in the form of levels, weapons available, and maybe characters. Each game has a different plot and reasoning for why, although I still haven't really figured out the laser-equipped camels. This port has one problem, and it was the lack of classic controller support. You could use a GameCube controller, and yes, I still have 4 Wavebirds from my Cube days, but building in controller compatibility, especially when you have remapped for a GameCube controller, shouldn't be rocket science. I mean, you can even play this game with the nunchuck. It's a really small gripe on the grand scheme of what this title means. This anthology brings you unaltered Metal Slug titles. The game will play through exactly as you remember from the original versions, and they all look exactly the same. Even the blinking free play makes me feel like I'm back in front of a cabinet spending all of my lunch money just to beat one more level. This would be my idea of the perfect port, except for the random load screens that tend to interrupt gameplay. But when you take a look at the lag issues the PlayStation 2 version comes with, a slight hiccup here and there isn't really that big of a deal. So since this is really a review of the anthology and not the individual games, now is the time that I take a step back and determine whether this is worth it. You've got 7 ports on a title that originally retailed at $40, but now goes for $20 in stores, and as low as $12 new from online retailers. At less than $2 per game, I'd say the Metal Slug Anthology is more than worth it. It's a fun title to sit down with a friend and play in a solidly air-conditioned room during these hot summer months. So buy this game and get it all. Sprites, guns, babes, the undead, and the sweet, sweet smell of freedom lingering in the air.